What's up, dude?
What's up?
It's been a
Holy,
while. I almost forgot how to do this.
bro, I like am trying to still find my barrack. My biggest fear is that I'm still gonna forget to press record. Look at you, you're going to back out?
A little bit. I always do it in the off season, so it's always a
Oh,
shock to people when they haven't seen me.
I know, bro. I like it. How you been, man? How's everything?
Pretty good, man. I mean, it was a long season last year, and ending it the way that I did, it wasn't necessarily the best feeling in the world. Having my foot in my mouth on the podcast, which it is what it is. I just learned more than I probably would have expected, but at least it's something that's behind us now. But I can apply it to future shows now, especially doing predictions and things that we could apply to the podcast. Um, but yeah, man, after that, just kind of got right back to it, always setting up for the next year, bigger things. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
I think last year there was so much going on towards the end of the year, and I think what I love about this podcast is the fact that we have people who walk the walk consistently. Like while they're going through it, they are on and speaking to you guys about how, what it feels like to go through it, I guess you could say, in real
Yeah.
time. And I don't think a lot of times people realize how many heightened emotions there were of last year, even not only just being an athlete, but also with the battles that was going on behind the scenes that,
Mm-hmm.
I know we knew about all the things that you were going through, but not a lot of people really knew. And I saw that you opened up about it recently. I'm not sure if you're comfortable kind of highlighting that because from a friend's perspective, seeing you go through that consistently, bro,
Yeah.
and bro, we talked often, nothing to do about bodybuilding, just mental checkups, but still you showed up, you pushed through, and that's what people
Yeah.
take.
The main reason why I didn't want to talk about it then was it's kind of like people always want to talk about things after the fact to kind of, if I didn't do good at a show, this is the reason why. And I didn't want to do that right away. I kind of just dealt the cards that were given to me. I had to deal with them. And, August 8th, I was going through a opioid withdrawal, which I didn't know. It was not injectable. It was nothing like that. It was just a supplement that had things in it that I didn't know. And I ended up using it for a while, getting hooked on it, and then coming off of it and going through the physical withdrawals and then turning to mental withdrawals. And, prep is already hard as it is. Adding that to the equation just became, just that much more debilitating. And there was times that I was questioning to pull out of the Olympia. Um, my physique was still responding just because the discipline, I kept pushing myself to just keep doing the same exact thing. The discipline is what got me to that point. Um, the discipline made the stability just come together a little bit better. Now, if I didn't have the discipline of that prep, I probably wouldn't have got through it. I probably would have just been like, I'm going to go back to this stuff, but I didn't. I just fought through it, and after the Olympia, it was one of those things to where I could look back at it and say, okay, that was one thing that I was able to overcome. So,
It's
moving forward, I did more shows, and it was just a thing of the past at that point.
yeah, bro. Like what what a lot of people probably didn't realize, there was like a couple episodes where like your emotion was gone, right? And,
Yeah.
and we talked about it. Obviously, we knew what was going
Just
on.
before you guys knew too, and I
Yeah.
decided to message you. It was actually you guys were texting me during the podcast saying like, "Hey, what's going on? Like, why are you being quiet?" And I was going through it. I just felt really detached from reality. My emotions were, I just was extremely flat to where nothing. I could have won the lottery and just not felt it, not cared, and that's
Yeah.
kind of just how it felt. It's hard to describe it if you haven't gone through it, but in that moment it was something that I just had to kind of go through, and I saw no light at the end of the tunnel. It's kind of like when you have the flu, you feel like you're never going to get better, you feel like you're just going to die, but then you get better and then you forget that pain once you overcome it. But I journal, and I would write notes and take mental notes and write them in my phone, and I always look back at them and reflect on that time. And even if I'm having a bad day, it's nowhere near where it was.
Yeah. How are you now?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It still took time because I was going through this during prep. And then after prep, I wasn't really dealing with any of these things until after coming off a cycle and everything. So then you got that hitting you. You got the post show blues, the winter blues, the way that my season ended last year, it was everything was just hitting me all at once. So, I would say I got to a point to where I was in a rut, I was in a hole, I was in a depression. And, I've always talked about mental health and things like that. With my history, it seems like I could make a documentary of my life with all these things that I've been through. It's not necessarily something that I like talking about, but I know a lot of people could relate to it and kind of find answers in my story if they're going through something. It doesn't need to be, as bad as what I'm going through, but they could kind of relate to it, injuries, things like that. We're all people. And I want to be an advocate for those things when people think that they're stuck and, we still came from our mom. We still bleed when, we're cut, there's nothing that's supernatural about us. We're just athletes and a lot of people admire us, but I want to be very open with the things that I go through.
Yeah, bro, I'll give you a lot of credit for what you went through last year. You know, a lot of was more told mentally than it was anything else. But
Mhm.
something I went through last year, right? You guys know this more than anybody, taking that step back. I wanted to introduce you guys. Look at it.
There.
Oh man. It came by so quick, man. It's
Bro.
just wild. Like I feel like you just
That's
told
so
us
crazy.
that, it's happening and then he's so tiny.
Look,
So how has it been, man? Like, has it been smooth sailing? Has it been rough? What's going on?
I'm gonna let him get his nap. Love it, go. Um, it's been a lot of new, bro. I think for somebody who's extremely reliant on like a schedule, like my
Yeah.
days are very militant, broken down, just because I have a lot on my plate, bro. I'm a coach. I like to create content. I, have the manifest, a new peak coming out. There's a lot of new things, but nonetheless, it was so much going on that I was so efficient because I created an effective schedule that allowed me to give the energy I needed to towards those allocated things. When a baby came into the picture, bro, we're on their schedule. Everything
Yep.
shifts, right? And it made me realize how much more respect I have for people who are parents and who also compete at a high level or just compete in general, bro. When I mean that your life now revolves around their schedule, and you can do all you can to try to kind of mold them to your schedule. But bro, when you're a baby, they're on their own in terms of scheduling, and it's fucking insane, bro. But
Have you been puked on yet?
bro, I've been shit on, puked on, bro, pissed on. Dude, as soon as you take the diaper off and it's like hits the cold air, you got to be ready, bro. It's absolutely
It
insane.
reminds me of that movie The Mask with Jim Carrey
Yes.
with that kid that's like peeing like a water fountain.
Yes. Oh
I
man.
wanted to ask you though. I know that when Banks would talk about how difficult it was, did it live up to that? Is it more difficult than you thought?
Yeah, oh, listen, I'm 3 weeks in at this point, right? So I'll have to, well, we'll come back to this when it comes to like me being in a prep setting, but sleep has obviously been so inconsistent. You know why? You know how Ariel will sometimes be on like a crazy schedule where he's up at like
He
one.
was just on it the other day. He messaged me at
Yeah,
like 4 a.m. asking how I was. Like,
exactly, bro. Like he's just on like a different schedule now because
yeah,
of the twins. At first, when he said like the schedule that he was gonna have before I had my son, I was like, this dude's crazy. Like I don't understand how you could even function that way. I fully get it now. Like I am active at like 4 in the morning doing certain things because my schedule shifted in order for me to be there for him, for Megan get some sleep. I can prioritize my sleep. So there's like a system that we have in play, especially now with me starting prep next week. I really have to make sure that my ducks are in a row. And I think that's my only thing, bro. That's like going to be the whole new factor thrown into this prep that has me a little hesitant, but at the same time, I know I have the support system around me to really mold that in. But bro, a year ago, literally a year ago to the month, a doctor looked me in my eyes and told me the chance of having a baby is slim to none. Like it broke my heart, broke my wife's heart. And then I remember it was a few weeks later, I was opening up a little bit about it to Jeremy Buendia, and he told me something. He was like, don't ever let another man play God. When he said that to me, bro, my whole mind shifted. Everything shifted for me. Like my perspective on life, my perspective on being able to have the baby, actually making this happen. When I got the news, bro, I couldn't have a bad day since then. So that's how I'm moving right now. It's a lot. I'm stressful. I'm tired, but truly, bro, it's better than the alternative. And it's hard to have a
Yep.
bad day when it comes to this shit right now. Yeah,
It's awesome, man. Happy for you, bro.
I appreciate you. Chris, bro, it has been way too long. Way too long. How have you been? What's going on in the life of Chris? You retired from bodybuilding 1 second. You're back now. What's going on?
Dude, I've been retired for like 3 years now. Come on, man. I don't know what you're talking
I'm
about.
starting to
You're
think
talking
your
about
off
the
season
CrossFit
is just
athlete?
code word for retired.
The CrossFit athlete came in, so whenever you go through like a bad breakup, man, it's like these things go through. Like you want to be a fucking boxer, you want to be an MMA guy just to beat the other dude's ass. And then you like sit back and you're like, oh, CrossFit, because I need some endurance first before I go into boxing to beat this dude's ass. But anyways, so all this shit happens, and then you like get through it all, and you're like, who the fuck am I? I'm a bodybuilder at heart, right? So I got back on the McDonald's diet, got back on the Oreo diet, and we're back in the bodybuilding world. So
Oh my
no,
God.
I obviously went through a big breakup. Not going to get into it at all. Not worth the time in that, but had been dating someone for almost a decade, and we were supposed to get married, and then it obviously didn't work out. So it put me through a twirling depression. Drew, you know how that feels. Like you were
Two
just saying,
different depressions. So when Alex was saying pretty much like, oh yeah, personal reasons they're not on, it wasn't for drama or any other reason. I meant it was real life situations.
yep.
Bro,
And
and that's
then
the hardest part, bro. People always, whenever, even when like the episode with Andre comes out, right? Like first, everyone just thinks like the worst case scenario every
yep,
time. Like, oh,
yep,
they disappear. I get it to a degree, but holy shit. I think there's like certain things that like I can't be the person to say. You know what I mean?
yeah,
That
yeah,
has to come from your guys' mouth, respectfully. But Chris, you're another one, bro. You went through a lot this year. And
yeah.
I don't even
Not
think
only that, but the injuries on top of that. So I had a bunch of injuries before that. It's funny that the day that she had left me was actually I made a post on my Instagram saying I'm ready for a comeback, and my strength was high. I was healed from the hernia surgery, from my nerve damage through my neck, all that stuff. I was ready to go. And it's like, fuck you, Chris. You're going back in the hole. So I went from like 235 pounds to about almost 205, which is my stage weight, but obviously no muscle. So you can imagine how skinny I got. The depression just keeps you in bed. Like it kept me in bed for until 1 or 2 p.m. every single day. I couldn't even bring myself out of it. I couldn't eat
it was
for the
hard
first like 6
contacting
weeks.
you, bro. It was hard contacting you at one point.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I was just out of it, man. And sometimes what the best advice I ever got was to sit in your feelings and feel it
Yes.
instead of trying to compartmentalize it and push it away. So I did that, man. I mean, I'm gonna be real here. I cried every single night. I felt it. I went through the memories and I was like trying to make sense of it all, but I was like, no, dude, just sit there and feel it. And after a month or so of doing that, you start to feel a little bit better. You start to get back out there. Going to the gym is a big thing. I forced myself to go to the gym. And you know how serious it is for me to go to that gym,
I know.
Alex.
I know.
I dragged myself in there because I was like, I'm not going to let anything bring me down. And it worked out, man. And now I can't say I've been happier, man. I'm loving life. I'm back in the grind of things. My strength is going up. My size is coming back. I think I'm at 226 now, so I'm getting almost back to my original weight.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
we'll see if I can do a show here at the end of the year. We'll see what's gonna go
We'll do
on.
Are you gonna do masters finally?
I'm not doing masters, motherfucker.
You
I'm
you
thinking
said,
nationals. Nationals
oh,
at the end of the year. If I get better earlier, I'm gonna do North Americans. So
I like it,
There
bro.
you go, man.
You said
I'm
something, bro.
convinced Chris is a cyborg at this point with all his injuries, bro.
Bro, it's insane. I
it's so
remember,
bad.
I remember you tore I met you when you tore your
My
chest.
pec off the bone. Yeah.
Yeah, that was nasty, bro.
Yeah.
Hold on real quick. You said something when you were just talking that I really don't think people understand. Like they hear it, I think it's gonna go in one ear and out the other when they really need to feel that shit. You will learn so much about yourself in your lowest of lows. If you try to mute the noise when you're there, if you try to rush out of that feeling, because that's all we want to do. We feel like shit. We don't want to feel that way anymore. Instead of understanding and dissecting why I feel like shit, what caused it, right? Was there anything that I did that I played a role in? All of these things, right? When you are in that low, that is the best time for you to try to have the most clear and level head. Because if you can understand and learn more about yourself during that time, you are going to be so much stronger on the other side. I am telling you guys, as somebody who's been through it, everybody on this podcast, as you can hear, we have been through some lows. If you do not rush out of your lows or mute that feeling and you try your best to learn about yourself throughout that time, you're going to learn so much about how strong you actually are, especially when you start making steps the other way around.
Don't try to fill
we're
the
making
void.
a comeback and we're talking about all these like low things, man.
Right?
I'm popping a Surfside right now. I'm getting lit. We're bringing this freaking episode back.
What the hell's that?
So we need to stop talking about this stupid stuff and get into why Ben's going to get in 6th place at the freaking Arnold, and we need to move this.
Oh,
wait!
fuck.
I saw those predictions.
I missed you guys.
Was Ben in 6th or 7th?
Andre had him in 6th,
but Andre didn't have Andre DU in there.
Yeah, Andre had him 2nd.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah, he had him 2nd. He had him 2nd.
Okay.
All right. You know what, Chris? On that note, I fucking love it, bro. Let's get into some bodybuilding, bro. We have not talked.
What?
Holy shit! I used to remember, bro. Drew used to just like we used to FaceTime. Like, what's that? What did we just see? Like, I missed that shit, bro. Oh my god. All right, here we go. Arnold Classic, the second show technically of the season, and we have the China Pro coming up soon. But what are your thoughts, man? Let's get into it.
I love this lineup, man. I think it's one of those lineups that can go so many different ways.
Yeah, it's a one. Yeah, you're right. It's like a wide open lineup. I mean, can we just start off with the fact? Who do you guys think is going to take the show?
Brandon.
Yeah. Do you guys see a world where anybody, whether it's Andre to you, Emanuel, nobody?
No.
Well, I did watch the podcast with Andre, just like everybody else, and I always like to see his point of view. And I do agree, you have the norm, and then you have, things that could be abnormal that happen. You never know. And we know this from last year at the East Coast Pro. But anyways, things can happen. Things can happen. But as far as predictions, I think we all would say if this was on FanDuel, Brandon would be leading the polls.
Yeah, 100%. Again, I think Brandon controls his success. Like, he doesn't have to worry about how anybody else shows up. If he shows up the way that he needs to show up, it's going to be lights out. Now, as easy as it is to say that, it's hard to say that to somebody who has a weakness, a glaring weakness, compared to other people. Brandon, what he probably has the maybe 4th, 5th best back on the stage, maybe. Right? And if we're judging men's physique, 50% front, 50% back, right? Theoretically. If you're missing, not missing, that's going too far. If you're not in the top 4 or 5 in a lineup that's only 12, does that leave him susceptible to somebody coming up and, they nail their look, being in that conversation / winning?
I always say it this way, man. And we've said it kind of this way in the past. Like, if you're looking at all these guys walking on the beach, what guy are you going to want to look like the most? It's definitely going to be Brandon Hendrickson, even though he's lacking the back. I don't think everyone keeps saying he's lacking from the back. Yeah, but he doesn't have a bad back. I think it's pretty proportional.
It's good enough.
Body, to his frame, and I think it looks good. I think it does look good. I think we're so used to seeing wide sweeping lower lats, things like that, but that he has that classic Dorito shape that kind of men's physique was originally based off of. So I prefer Brandon's physique compared to a lot of these other guys. And I don't know why the fuck I said Brian, but
Brian Flex.
Brian Flex. But no, I just think he has the best flow on the whole stage, and I think that's why he's going to win.
Yeah, I can agree. I also think that his front shot is so more dominant than everybody else's on that stage. It actually does fill in that gap a little bit, right? Where maybe somebody like an Emanuel Hunter who has, the best back in this lineup, and then you have, and he doesn't have a bad front. Like, he does not have a bad front.
But if you look at Emanuel Hunter's back, yeah, it's a great back. But then if you look at from a density standpoint, and then you compare it to Ben's back, right? Ben has a little bit more of that detail through the mid erectors, through the traps, things like that. So it's like you're kind of comparing apples to oranges on all these guys because they all have their strengths. You obviously have Eman that has wide sweeping lats. It just looks so crazy looking from a slab of a back from the back. But then you look at Ben and you're like, wow, that's a very aesthetic back. There's a lot of detail there. I like what I'm seeing. So there's a lot of different things with these guys, man.
Where do you have Ben in this lineup? If you had to put money on this, take out your favoritism. If you had to
I
put
well,
one,
no, fifth or higher.
you said fifth or higher?
Yeah.
Nah. What place do you have him in this lineup? Chris, don't get political. You have 12 people. 12 people. Let's pull up the lineup. I want to
I'll
know.
tell you the five guys that'll be ahead of him.
All right.
So we got Brandon.
So you have him at 6, the
We have
best.
been six then.
He could slip ahead. So I have Brandon
Okay.
ahead of him, obviously. Edmon's not on the show, but I will have had him ahead. I have Silva, Dayu.
Wait.
I have E-Man ahead of him.
Silva. Who's okay? Dilson, Dayu. Okay.
I got Hunter.
All right.
And that puts him in fifth right there. That's the four guys that I know that will be ahead of him.
No Did you say Vitor?
I didn't say Vitor. I think Ben looks better than Vitor.
Oh shit. All right. So
that's my opinion, though. That's my opinion because I've never been a big fan of Vitor. I do think Vitor has been, in my head, it looks like he's been downsizing a little bit and streamlining his physique a little more. I like it better than what it was because it looks like his midsection is a lot more tighter. He doesn't have that bloated look as much. If he could bring that, then yeah, I could probably put him ahead. But I've been in like fifth or sixth.
All right. What about you, Drew?
Go back to the list.
Yo, Vitor, this Vitor today at us 5 weeks out.
Vitor looks good, man.
Bro, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Ain't no fucking
Vitor
way.
looks good. Vitor looks good, but Vitor always looks good.
Bro,
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that right now, the guy that impresses me the most, and I'm going to say just off of improvements, is E-Man.
I agree.
E-Man has been posting, and I am so impressed by the fullness. And he's so far ahead of where he has been in the past. I think his back is absolutely outrageous. To me, out of all these guys look great. All these guys are top contenders, but I feel like he has made the most improvements as far as just he's always been a bubbly guy, but it's to a point to where it's just absurd at this point.
It's ridiculous.
I agree.
I did have an argument with somebody on the phone the other day about this, and we were comparing E-Man's midsection because he was talking about how E-Man's midsection is a weakness. But I told him, I said, hey, if you were anywhere like at the Tampa Pro at these other shows and you were up close to where the judges are at, you wouldn't be saying this because everyone's like, oh, he looks like he has a film of water. It's kind of blurry. No, if you're up close to where that judge's table is, this man isn't blurry. This guy is peeled. He looks very, very good. So I think a lot of people get that mistaken because they're sitting either far back or they're watching this on a live stream. It doesn't do E-Man justice.
I think it's exaggerated. I think it's warranted. Yes. I think it's exaggerated though. I think E-Man, if you had to pick a weakness in his physique,
you're nitpicking at that point.
Yeah,
you're nitpicking.
It would be his midsection. Now, like I said, I think people are kind of taking it and exaggerating it. You know, I think he has enough, but if you compare it to the guys who is ahead of him, a lot of them have more separation and detail. The thing
is, they have bigger waist than him.
Yes, agree.
I will say
there's a lot of trade-offs. There are a lot of listen, his structure right now is absolutely insane. His width from the back makes no fucking sense. He looks like this is the definition of what barn door looks like. He looks incredible. So I made a prediction that I think he was going to come in fourth. I'm moving him up to third. I really think he could be second fighting with Brandon. I really do.
I think he's very comparable to Brandon as far as the bubbly, dense muscle look. I know he is a little bit shorter. Is he shorter than Brandon? That's the thing. I want to see these guys in the lineup. I want to see them right next to each other. I remember at the Olympia, I believe in 23, my first one, I remember just watching it from, the sidelines, up close. E-Man was right there. I actually had E-Man. I wouldn't say beating Brandon, but I had it to where it was like really, really close.
Yeah, like
I had it really, really close. It was very comparable in that front pose. And Brandon's known for his front pose.
Yeah.
There were certain pictures and angles that I saw to where he did pop, and it did draw my eye to him.
For E-Man, it comes down to his peak. He always looks good. Granted, I think he looks better now than he's ever done leading into a show, but he always looks good going into a show. It comes down to, can he peak enough to separate, what he needs to separate in his physique, his back a little bit more, his midsection. He is just in need of more, I don't want to say just detail because it's more density through the back, but generally more detail. If he has that,
more detail for sure.
If he has that, man, he's going to expose a lot of people. You know what I mean? It's going to be hard to
I
stand
think
there.
the density and detail go hand in hand though, because if you look at
Yes.
the inner back, he has that wide, thick lat from the rear with the delts that look like cannons. But at the same time, when you compare him to Banks, you could see Banks just has that lumbar going all the way down with just that thickness mixed with the detail too. Because he is peeled, but like you said, it's the detail, but also that's going to come from the muscle maturity when he adds that density down the middle. Because
Yeah.
I know what you're saying with Ben. Ben's density was crazy, you know, and I watched the podcast with Dre, and I wish I was on there because I like some of the points, but at the same time, it's not that Ben has a problem getting conditioned. If you took his body fat, it's just as low as these other guys. I think just the skin texture.
Mm-hmm.
It could be that. It could be the level of vascularity. He's not as vascular as a guy like E-Man, for example. So it could play. Yeah, it could play a role in what it could appear like conditioning wise next to somebody when they talk about conditioning, because I was peeled out of my mind hurricane when I was next to Ben in the front. I was embodying him on conditioning as much as, you would think.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like individual pictures on Instagram and all that, because some of the pictures don't do Ben justice, because when you see him in person, it's a lot different, especially under the lighting.
Ben it's funny because his front is so detailed, but his back isn't. That's like, and then his front doesn't have a lot of density, but his back does, right? So it's like he's trading things from front to back. Granted, he has enough density, obviously, to be a guy that we're talking about breaking in that top 5 here at the Arnold. And then we also he's been 9th place at the Olympia. So it's in relation to his own physique, but the detail that he has throughout his midsection, if he could have just that throughout the back, again, with the density that he has, it would be lights out, So that's where it's like you said, is it something genetics that's not allowing his back to get as dry? Or is it a different approach that he needs?
I mean, we see what a lot of guys, you look at even the open guys like Derek Lunsford, for example, absolutely peeled straight glutes, but certain parts look a little bit more, they look watery, but they're not. You know what I'm saying? It's just that detail in that area, the skin.
It's like people's adductors. If you've ever looked at some people's adductors, and one of them is very, very smooth, another one will have etches and details into it. It's just what your genetics give you sometimes. And it doesn't mean that their quads are smaller. It's just that the shape and the look of them.
Yeah.
Time's only going to make it better. I believe every prep, every time you hit a certain level of body fat, every time you run a cycle, hardeners, I do think that you're going to improve that much more every single time. And you always learn things. You collect the data.
Let me ask you guys this. I know we probably don't know the exact age of each person, but what do you think the average age of the guys who are in the top, we'll say top 10 at the Olympia? Like, what do you think the average age will go to?
32.
Think 32?
Yeah.
Ali's younger.
Edvin's younger.
Yeah.
Banks is 36. I think Brandon's 36 or 37.
Yeah.
I don't know how old E-Man is, but I think
Ryan's,
it's between, I would say about like 32, 33.
Yeah. I would think 33, 34 now that I think about it. Yeah. So at what age do you think that people start to truly maximize their physique in terms of density? That do you know how people say the sweat equity in the gym, the old muscle? What do you think that starts to take place?
Dependent on age for that individual. So like you have a guy like Anton, right, who does classic. That looks absolutely incredible. And his peak's probably going to come at 28, right? Because he's been doing this a lot longer. Look at a guy like Lee Priest, right? What age was he peaked at, in that late 20s mark? I mean, he retired in 30s or something like that. So really it all depends on the individual. I think men's physique, I think the guys are a lot better whenever they're in their 32, 31 area. I think that's whenever they really hit their stride. I mean, that's whenever I was my strongest, my densest, and my best look that I ever brought was at that age.
Yeah.
So I do think it is dependent on the person, but overall, I would say early 30s is probably the prime for bodybuilding.
I agree.
It depends when you start in your genetics. So, for example, I started this when I started lifting weights ever since I could remember, when I was a little kid, and then got into powerlifting in high school. Like some of these guys, at the elite level may have not worked out until they were, in their later teens. So it kind of depends. And then injuries and things like that play a role, because when you're injured, you're not able to actually get the most out of certain things. But it comes down to genetics. You look at Bumstead, for example. Not everybody's going to be a Bumstead. He's like a one of one when his first Olympia at 26, maybe even younger. I don't even know what it was, but I know he was young. Yeah. So there's always the anomalies. And I think the guys that do win the Olympias, they're always the anomaly, because not everybody has the potential to even go to 100%. Olympia, let alone win one. But, in general, I think that a better question would be, at what age do most guys turn pro in men's physique? I would say probably around mid-20s. A lot of these guys have a background of being an athlete, and that gives you the competitive nature. And then, they started younger. So I feel like with a solid 10 years, like from when they start like 15, to 25, 26, 27, that's how it was for me, at least. So that's kind of how I would judge it.
You know how crazy, how much genetics play a role into.
They're the final boss, bro. It's like height.
Bro, look at my client Andre. Look at my client Andre. He's about to do his first show, and he's going to be able to do true novice. This dude can go against pros on the classic stage, and he rolled off his couch one day and has been training for 2 years and looks insane. Bro. So you just have some people, man.
You got to thank your parents for that one.
Look at the Andre we know that's eating hummingbird cake and, goddamn McDonald's and fudge brownies, and doesn't want to be top 10 at the O. And, he's still going.
That was 2025 Andre.
Okay. Hey, let me say something about this stuff. If this motherfucker comes back and wins, or even places in top 3, do you know how much shit everyone's going to hear from this dude on that podcast?
Everybody, bro. It's over for everybody. No, Andre is going to speak his shit. If he finds a way back in that top 5 at the Olympia, he is going to be a whole new man, bro. It's going to be so fun.
I honestly want.
You know what? I don't even think he'd be a whole different person. I truly believe that he believes he could do it. And that's why I believe he could do it, because Andre has always been very outspoken, and he's not somebody to just talk shit. And all the times he has, brought it. So I know in the last one he talked about doing Toronto. So I'm excited. He better have that hair heal really quick and then get back to training, because you know where I'm going. You know where the gauntlet starts. Hey, I'm always going to throw it out there, bro.
THK, CU or whatever. Copper. Get on it.
Drew, 3P. You going for it?
That's the goal, man. That's the goal. I'm always going to have that confidence in myself. I'm always going to go into a show, and who knows? Ryan Terry could say, "Hey, I'm showing up to do this." And there's a point in my career and just in general where I'm realistic, but I'm still going to go. It makes it fun. I believe the best package I brought was to the Hurricane, and a reason because of that was because of me knowing Ben was doing it.
Mm-hmm. I love
when I have somebody else to where I know I need to push, and I have a chance. It may be a small chance, but it's still a chance to where I could possibly push them. That's what just amplifies my training, my intensity, my dieting, everything. And I just get that. I get that feeling, I get that itch to push myself a little bit more every single time. When I'm the guy that's here, and then I see a list and none of the guys that beat me, it's a different perspective. And I did this at East Coast. I was the guy to beat going into that show. And what happened? I did not win that show. So I kind of let off that gas a little bit. And I think that confidence got to me at a point to where I did flatten out when I was on stage at prejudging, and my spirit was crushed when I was moved out. But that's besides the point. I am somebody that loves to compete. I won Chicago Pro, and nobody had me winning. I didn't even have myself winning that show. All the shows that I won that really made my career for me, I was never expected to win those shows, and that's what makes it fun for me.
You make a really good point there, because if you think about people's best physiques, Alex, yours, Miami, Banks, we talk about Boston, right? I wouldn't really say Andre because his was the Arnold, but whenever you actually technically, this actually constitutes that, because you have a smaller show at the Arnold. Whenever you have these smaller shows where there maybe is a little bit less pros compared to Olympia, where you have a big pool of the best guys, right? I think that we see the best physiques because of that. Exactly what you said, Drew, is that you have your eye on somebody there that you want to beat, and that's all you're focused on. You're not focused on being 30 other guys. You're focused on being that one freaking guy, and usually guys come in legit for doing that.
Yep.
More, yeah,
Yeah,
like,
dude, it's less stress too, because the worst possible scenario is what happened, was taking second
mhm,
place. But to this day, that show felt more meaningful than a win,
mhm.
because I knew how good I looked. And that feeling was like, wow, I studied for this test and I passed it. I may have not gotten 100%, but I still passed. I feel good about myself. It was a next level confidence.
You know, we're speaking about confidence. We're speaking about kind of narrowing your sight on specific individuals. That's exactly what we're seeing E-Man do right now. I don't know if you
Mhm.
guys have been paying attention to it. I've never seen E-Man this confident, this boastful, I guess you could say. I guess I would even just cemented and confident in what he's done so far throughout his career. He has always relevantly been the guy who's more quiet and reserved, not somebody who puts himself in the forefront of controversy by using his own words.
Mhm.
Do you guys think that this is the same exact thing? He is narrowing in on something specific because he even said, if Brandon Henderson misses even one single lift, I got him. Like he is that fucking confident. I've never seen E-Man speak that kind of shit before, and I fucking love it. I absolutely love it. Do you, or Chris, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say the man also just got married. So he has a lot less stress on his plate compared to doing all those shows, getting married, and all that good stuff. So, dude, the guy's got no stress but the win now. He's locked in. That's his life now.
Yeah,
You
but
know
it's
what I'm
And
saying?
he
different,
ain't
bro.
happy. He's not happy from Olympia. He knows he missed his mark, and he's
Yeah.
still, look where he placed. He's still a
Focus,
guy
man.
that could come in off and still be one of the best in the world. And I'll tell you what, he's hungry, he's motivated, he knows how he looks. We all know how he looks too. And I don't think it even matters, like being on the podcast and hyping him up. This isn't news to his ears. He's going to listen to it. He already knows all this. He's just talking what he believes in. Same reason, I talk the way that I do, and Chris is going to talk the way he does when he goes to a master show, and then Alex when he makes his comeback.
All right. Who do
You
you guys
better hope I don't get my fucking pro card because I'm coming to fucking Toronto. All right. Who do you
Man, the
think
participation trophy.
in Shula shorts, motherfucker? All right. Anyways, so
Who do you think is the dark horse coming in this show? Who do you think is a
All
guy
right,
who
define a dark horse,
the
because we
guy
we have it down to where it's a top six, but there could be somebody that comes in that just shocks everybody by the biggest jump, right?
yeah, I mean I think
Barack,
Barack.
yeah,
Barack.
I think so too. What do you guys think
Little
about
chest and
Emmanuel Costa? He was there, he was fourth last year at the Arnold. He
People
was
are counting him out because of the last appearance, and that's what it's always going to come down to. Relevance is key when it comes to this. They're going to highlight the superstars in this, and the superstar is Brandon, right? Brandon kind of stands alone in being that superstar with the Mr. Olympia. It's not like previous years where you had like Andre, you had like Banks and like Olympia champs, where it was like head to head. You have one guy that's I wouldn't say so far ahead of everybody, but we all kind of have a common denominator who we have winning. And then you have other guys that are really close in that mix that could jump up. I do think that Barack is the guy that is going to jump in there, but I think that a lot of people are counting out Emanuel Acosta just because of relevance. Because the last show that he didn't do too good, but a lot of people forget their history. But this is a different type of lineup than last year as well. Last year had pretty much the top three on lock, and then it was kind of like, okay, who are they going to throw in there? And I don't mean to say that in a negative way, but it was a lot different last year. A lot of guys are closer right here.
yeah, I agree.
yeah.
As far as the competitive level.
Let me ask you guys this. I don't know if you guys have been seeing Andre Dayu. He has crazy physique updates, but at the same time, he is posting updates with him being at clubs, kind of living like a double life. You guys think that this guy,
I love this.
do you guys think at all this could come back and bite him? Because right now, a lot of people have him in second place and being the guy who can challenge Brandon.
Listen, man, Chris Cormier was doing all these Olympias and he was going to nightclubs the day before just to lose water. That was what worked for him. And just like we talked about, what age and genetics and all of this, like if that's what works for him and it keeps his stress low and he looks like that, I mean, might as well just keep doing it.
You know what? You said it perfectly, bro. I think we're so used to a way that is traditional to bodybuilding that as soon as we hear something like an Andre Ferguson, for example, talk the way he speaks about his off seasons, his preps, we look at it so foreign. But what if that is the way that works for him? Now, this does not mean if you're watching this, go out there and try to eat bullshit or go party throughout prep. But there is something to be said about doing certain things that keep your cortisol low and your body efficient. And maybe that's it, bro. I just don't understand. Like we've heard Hani Rambod in the past talk about coaching Andre Dayu and how much he's basically coaching a Playboy model, going out partying and then drinking and then fucking still finding a way to, be shredded the next day. It's fucking insane, dude. But he's somebody I think if anybody could
That'll
challenge.
catch up to him. That will catch up to him in his early 30s.
I think it will just I'm just curious to see if this ever holds him back from truly maximizing his full potential. Like maybe this is him doing it very easy. Like maybe this is his
Hey,
look.
Alex, maybe he's not even doing anything though. It's like me whenever I
Like
post
Instagram. Yeah.
McDonald's. I do that shit because people were like, "Are you really doing it?" I'm like, "Yeah, man,
Yeah.
definitely. I eat McDonald's all the time."
Yeah.
Like
it's like a mind game almost. Like it just maybe for content because he's a content guy. I think he has the number or the highest amount of followers in men's physique right now.
Hey, go back to that story. See, he said he's locked in, so he's bringing that little prep to the club. All right, he's doing bottle service.
It's just cardio, bro. It's just fun cardio.
Oh, that is crazy. He's literally prepping in a resort right now, bro.
Probably has like his Apple Watch on, making sure his heart rate's where it needs to be.
Like, look at this, bro.
Hey, look at that, dude. Hey, look at that face, bro.
Living the life, man.
Bro,
locked in. Oh, never mind. Whoops.
Come on, bro.
Probably taking pictures of somebody else's meal. Like, hey, I'm gonna make them think it's my meal. Dude, there's times I've done that. Yeah. I took a picture of Maria's food and been like, yeah, pizza 2 weeks out from the O. People will believe it, like Chris said. And it's just the kind of troll in our own way, like because people know.
The last person I want to talk.
It's like whenever you're like not getting enough attention that day, you're like, all right, let's stir the pot. I need to message some people today. And you post something like that.
Because then they think that they need that.
Drew, I want to hear. Drew, I want to hear your top 5.
My top 5. All right. I got Brandon. 1. I got E-Man 2. Andre 3.
Damn.
Vitor or Dilson for 4.
Who you got? That bro, Dilson is.
I'm gonna have Vitor. When Dilson, I think the lineup. Edvin was the elite guy that he went against, and Edvin is a guy that angles, and he doesn't have the smallest waist, but he could angle to where his waist does look smaller. I think Dilson in the lineup is going to have a bigger waist and less of a taper. Compared to some of the other guys. And I think Vitor is going to edge him out on that. Conditioning, like you said, he could be the most conditioned guy. But there's trade-offs too, so it's a matter of like kind of seeing how they look next to each other. But my safe bet would be with Vitor. Yeah. And you got to remember, he hit this look one time, as far as I know, just here with beating Edvin. You don't know if that's going to happen again, so I'm curious to see how he's going to look. I definitely think that he's like a fan favorite now that he made the statement he did last year. But there's been many times, like, for example, Vinicius has been second at the Arnold. But if we always went off of how he looked at that Arnold versus other shows, most of us don't even have him top 8 at a regular pro show. So sometimes you just hit it.
Can you talk? Like, how crazy is that?
Yeah.
Vinicius Mateus has been second place at the Arnold's. And then at regular season shows, bro, will be out of the top like 8, 10. It's wild to see somebody's ceiling versus somebody's floor and how big the actual difference is. That's the biggest I've ever seen in men's physique. Like he has arguably one of the best backs in the league, but is probably the most inconsistent in the league at the same time.
And that's what I kind of always, not everybody's like that. I'm not saying that Dilson's going to not be consistent. I know he's probably more hungry than ever, especially I think he's with Neil Hill, right?
Is Dilson Neil?
I seen video. I think he is. I'm pretty sure that he is.
That's dangerous.
So I definitely want to see it first. I kind of go with the guys that look good to me right now. Dilson looks good. I just think Vitor is just more taper. And like Chris says, I feel like he worked out some things with Cutz with digestion to where his stomach does look a little bit flatter, but at the same time, his lats have blown up even more. His conditioning has been a lot tighter, even since we've seen him last year at Pittsburgh. He's been really impressive and he's been on and only getting better. So, I wouldn't put it past him to even come in better. And we just saw that update right now. You know, he looks great, man. They all look great, and that's what's hard. It just comes down to who looks great for that criteria, and then how they look next to each other.
And
Yo, let me ask you, as somebody, I think both of you guys have prepped with Cutz before. Is there anything I should know on how to be the best athlete for a coach like Cutz going in? Is there any advice that you guys can give me that
it's gonna be self-explanatory, man. He's very easy. He asks for
Just
what he
be
needs,
honest.
and you get it done, and that's it, man. That's it.
He'll answer your questions in detail too. I mean, you're a guy, you've been to Olympia, you know how it is, man. Like there's going to be things sometimes that you're like, you may not feel a certain way about, especially if you haven't worked with a specific coach like this. You've done the salt packets and things like that in your past. There's going to be a transition to where you might question stuff. He'll explain to you why he's having you do what he does, you know? So,
you know what I've
and he'll
learned
find
about-
a way. If it doesn't work right away, he's going to find a way. And you're going to be really excited with it, man. I think he's the best choice that you could possibly go with.
Yeah, I think what's I've really noticed about Cutz is how instinctual he is. He's smart. I don't want to take anything away from that. But what makes Cutz is just his eye, right?
Yeah.
Just his ability to make a call that is just second nature to him at that point. So it doesn't seem like a big him, but like it's just a second nature intuition at this point, right? So I think that's what, so far the most impressive thing that I've seen. Is just like
he sees it in you before you see it in yourself. And I tell you what, he already sees the best version of Alex Toplin in his head before he molds you to that.
Yes, 100%. And that's what I'm excited for, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I really think if I can find a coach who can prep me the right way, not to say I was prepped 100% wrong in the past, nothing like that, but keeps me healthy, right? Also pulls the certain levers when they need to, bro. I look great 3 weeks out from the show. I step on stage flat, right? It has been a consistent pattern, you know, throughout my career.
Have you had a mindset shift the last 3 weeks? Is it stress? Is it travel? What is it? Nerves, not feeling good enough, lack of sleep, digestion.
Yeah, I think, bro, you know, I think most of it was just like the new environment that I'm in with my son, you know, like, and getting sleep and making sure I'm still being there to be a good husband and managing X, Y, and Z, right? You know, but I've taken a lot of steps to put people in place and hire certain people to really keep me efficient. So I think the business side of things, I'm good. I had a really good conversation with Megan, and we're good with the scheduling that we have so far. You know, I think my biggest thing, like you said, bro, I haven't been on stage in a year and a half, you know, and when I think about that, I forget what it feels like to prep to a small degree. I forget, you know, the crazy feeling of lows, and I'm the guy who's used to 2 hours of fucking cardio. So I don't.
But you want it,
bro. That's
excited.
What's fucked up. That's what's fucked up. I'm craving that feel. I'm craving that feeling. That's what's fucked up, bro. I'm really craving.
Yeah, but how'd you feel at the end of your seasons last time? You were burnt out, right?
Yeah, burnt out, defeated. Like I tried to justify. Yeah, I needed that step back more than anything, bro. I said this. Even if I didn't grow a single ounce of muscle, which I do feel like I have more so, even if I didn't, if I just had potentially a different coach to use, maybe a different approach in the prep, that's one. And not only that, but my body is simply healthy. If I can have those two factors in my prep with even the same level of density that I've had in the past, I truly think that is still enough.
You're gonna grow into this show. You're gonna grow into this show. Your physique that you're seeing right now isn't even close to what's going to be at the end of this prep.
Yeah, 100%.
Because of you getting off the androgens for so long, having the kid, all that good stuff, having that break. Now you're healthy, dude. Your skin looks great.
And you're happy, bro. Like it's different.
Happy.
Yeah,
it's gonna be insane. It's gonna be way different this time around. I guarantee it.
Chris, you've seen me at my most toxic. You remember that when, like, bro, I was fucking. Oh my god, bro, it was bad. Like emotions were all over the place. I was breaking out like crazy. Like,
dude, this dude would see me in the gym and he'd like look over and just like keep going. Just didn't like.
I had no emotion.
Talk to anyone.
No emotion, bro. It was like crazy. It was crazy, bro. But all right, let's get into a few questions. Some of these are questions from the Andre, because I feel like I'm curious to know what you guys answered in some of these. And some of these are more recent ones. All right. So what's the What's the biggest prep mistake you see regional and national level athletes make right now?
Running too much gear. You can't cheat the process. They're running too much gear. They're getting gyno early. They're creating more long-term problems that they're going to have to get removed anyways. You're not going to gain so much. And I've been one of those guys when I first, when I went pro, I was pushing pro level dosages. And now I'm at my lowest ever and I'm making the most progress. I think it does come with maturity and age. And once you're training and your diet is in check, it's just baby steps, man. Supplements are supplements. They're there to add to what you're already doing.
Perfectly.
Yes. Well, yeah. Yeah. But it's, I would say gear. And I think it's the most, the number one question that I'll be asked when I go on lives and whatnot is, hey, what's your cycle? Or they'll tell you their cycle and then say, what do you think about it? And it's just kind of like, listen, man, I don't even know what you look like, let alone your age, your experience level. It's just very hard to gauge those type of things. And a lot of them, I guarantee, aren't on a diet and they're just kind of going into the gym and just training arms or chest.
Yep. I think you have too many cooks in the kitchen. I feel like there's a lot of people who seek the advice and attention from other people, and the words that they might spiel to them lives rent free in their head, and they can cause so many wheels to turn that didn't need to turn. People overthink the process.
They ask are ones that don't have experience too.
Yeah,
it'll be like the person at the gym that did one show.
Bro,
and you're like, why are you listening to this person?
Bro, not even that. Not even that. Take it to a whole new level. How many people do we know who are pro, who are stupid as fuck, who you can't ask them about shit, bro, because they're gonna tell you the opposite of the right answer. It's
prime
wrong.
Example of genetics that they're going to ask the guy that really doesn't know what he's talking about because he looks good, and then he's going to give some advice because it works for him. Yeah, I just eat donuts and this and that, and I take Trenace. That kid's going to do it. You get what I'm saying? Same thing with like influencers and stuff like that. A lot of the most famous influencers right now aren't even pro bodybuilders.
Not at all.
And they're influencing these younger guys, and those guys are following what they're doing. And that's their way. That's what works for them. But a lot of the guys that look amazing, that are at the top level, they're always the guys that tell you less is more. Why is that? Because they know from experience, because they've done it, and they get more from less. It takes time, but like anything, bro, you can't be a doctor before you got your associates. Too many guys want to jump up the ladder too fast.
I have a little beef to pick with that statement. So technically, what I would say for everyone is to start off on low dosages and taper your way up. And you want to use the dosage that you get the most effective use out of, right? So if that's 300 milligrams of test and you're gaining good, stay at 300 milligrams until it doesn't work, and then go up from there. But there is a part in the middle of everyone's career, and each one of us can say that we've done it, is we've ran very high doses to get to where we were at muscularly for our division, right? And then once we get to that muscularity, because it does take a certain amount of androgens to get there,
solidifies, right? Yeah.
Exactly. So then once you're there, then you can drop the dosages, because it doesn't take much to keep that mass there. So like for you, Drew, you don't have to run a lot anymore because you have the mass now. And now all you're doing is tailoring your muscles to look a certain way to fit that criteria, that division, right? So then you bring those doses back down. So I don't want people to think that, oh, we're all running 300 to 500 milligrams of test and like 200 master on, like that's what we've done all the time. No, dude. I've ran I'm not even going to lie, I've ran 1.5 grams on myself to do a men's physique show. But am I doing that anymore? No. That was whenever I was 180 something pounds and needing to get put on weight in the off season to get up there. And then now I can run 400 milligrams of test and look perfectly good. So you're going to hear a lot of pros say that. There's a lot of people that argue over on the internet about this stuff, and I don't want them to pick any sides. I just want them to know that there's a rhyme or reason for certain parts in your career to do things, and you just follow that. You just follow what works at that time.
Yeah, listen.
Yeah, and it's the genetic component too, because you could have that young kid that may not have a lot of muscle tissue but is super lean. He might have to take a little bit more gear. And I don't mean young kid, maybe just 21. He's just not as experienced. But a lot of guys, they just want to go to the gear right away to substitute the hard work. Or the cardio. Like, hey, I don't want to do 30 minutes of cardio. I'll do 10, but I'll just raise my clen. That's this mindset now to where these guys are getting lazier because they're taking more gear to almost compensate. Yeah, Reta and all this other stuff. There's not enough research on these peptides to even tell anybody to do it. I'm a prep coach for a lot of lifestyle guys, and I don't believe in it because I don't want them to have. Here's the thing with Reta, right? Since we got in this subject,
here we go.
Your GI and digestion is like 3 to 4 times longer to process meals. So if you're a bodybuilder, you need 5-6 meals to constantly replenish your body, your protein synthesis every 2-3 hours. If you're digesting one meal every 6 hours, how are you going to get in 5 to 6 meals a day? You're going to get bloated because that food is, yeah, exactly. So when you're going on stage, it's going to probably hurt you more than help you. So why do it? It's this mindset of, I don't want to suffer to get low on body fat as much because I don't want to have the cravings. So I'm just going to take this so then I don't have the cravings. But you're trading that off for something else that's going to be detrimental. So why do something that can hurt you 50% that potentially only make you 5% better?
That's a good point. So people use Reta through a whole prep and they only needed it maybe for the last 6 weeks, right? It's overuse of these things whenever you don't need them. Feel the feels. That's the best part about bodybuilding, man. Feel the hunger. Hate your life. Like, that's great, man. That's my favorite part.
Listen, I never put a client on Reta just because of the hunger signal. Yeah. That's the last time I would ever use Reta. I will say this: there's a big difference between a GLP-1 and a GLP-3, right? Yes. A GLP-1 is centered towards just hunger. That's like something you would give to somebody to suppress their appetite. A GLP-3 focuses on 3 different things, right? Yes, hunger, but also insulin sensitivity and direct fat loss, right? If I had to sum it up in a very general term. So Reta does have more applicable application instead of this hunger signaling, which I think a lot of people don't realize. Like,
it's still going to slow down your digestion, though.
Yes, but like not 6 hours is wild. But that's why you're right. I don't use it in an off season. Like, you use it in a prep. And keep in mind, I don't use it. Like, not me personally. I don't use it. But what I'm saying is, you can use it in a prep setting when food is naturally already lower, right? And that's when I think it's most beneficial, mainly for the insulin sensitivity side of things and the direct fat loss. But yes, obviously for hunger cues for most people.
You have it's hard for you to put down a bunch of food, right? Like, you struggle.
Yeah, I struggle, bro.
I do when I'm in my off season, when I was putting on size at that time. I'm just not a food person in general.
Okay, same. So I took 0.5 milligrams of Reta. This is my own personal experience. And dude, I couldn't eat for 4 days.
It's going to feel like the depression, right?
I was like, I'll never take this again, because for me to just eat a meal, it took me everything. I was like,
that's not common. Huh? That's not common.
No, but what I'm saying though is,
we already have low appetite to begin with.
I agree.
Add that,
I agree, bro. I can't eat for shit. I can't do it. Cutz had me at 400 grams of rice per meal. I'm like, ain't no fucking way. Ain't no fucking
prep is easier for me. I hate the off season.
That's what I'm saying. Yes. I'm so excited to fucking pull my food down. Yep. Like, I'm just like, this is ridiculous.
I'm glad we're all the same here.
400 grams of rice per meal? You fucking kidding me, bro? That shit.
If you give me no rice, I'm happy,
bro.
Don't give me any.
My rice cooker has holes in it from constantly heating up, and just like, I'm not even lying, bro. I had to Gorilla Glue it.
Oh my god, bro.
Yeah, it's like I'm constantly heating it up.
Hey, Amazon link for him to get a new rice cooker.
Yeah. All right, let's jump. List in order of importance to what list in order of importance for a pro when picking a show. Show promoter, prize money, who's judging, how competitive the show is, and the ease of travel.
Already fucked up on just having that mindset to have all these stipulations as to how to pick a show. It should be travel and finances, what's going to be easier for you. And another thing is the level of show. Like, if it's your pro debut and you're going to do the New York Pro. For me specifically?
Yeah. Let's change that towards you.
Okay. For me specifically, it's just a matter of, well, I do Toronto because it's a Sunday show. I got an extra day to carb up, so I have a better look.
Okay.
That's my main reason of doing that, because as far as finances and all that, I'm good with that. I could choose, but the main goal is to go to the Olympia. So what is going to be the most efficient, effective way to get there? And, obviously strategy too.
Okay. So competitive.
Some kids say the promoters and stuff like that, but I don't really focus on that stuff. Yeah.
No, that's not good. going to matter. I think exactly what you said, Drew. It's going to be the strategy of how you're going to get to the big show. If you are a pro that wants to do that, if you're just a pro that's competing to compete, whatever, you finances and travel is probably going to be the number one thing.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to make it to the big dance at the end of the year, you're seeing who's doing that show. You're seeing how you've competed maybe with them in the past, and then you're picking that show that's going to best fit you and your physique. And maybe that is a judge. Maybe that is a judge that have seen you many times, like Sandy for you, Alex. She's seen you a couple times, right? And she likes your look. Like
we all have our favorite judges. Yeah. We all have our favorite judges. Not against any other judge. We just know. That's one of the questions, who likes our look.
That's one of the questions. What judge do you guys like getting in front of the most?
I always love being in front of Steve, man. I find Steve like very just direct. He'll tell you how it is. And me as an athlete, I constantly see the flaws in my own physique. So I think he's the one that, yeah, she's building a cabinet. Yeah. She dropped me off my water. I said I was a thirsty bitch. But anyways, yeah, Steve, I think he's just very direct and cutthroat, and to bring out the best in me, I need to hear it. And sometimes, you'll get feedback to where it's just the other guy just may have looked better just genetically. He's put together a little bit better. I already know what my feedback's going to be, but when Steve will break it down, it could be as little as a pose, or work on this specific section of your back, or this or that, or maybe even fix your front pose this angle a little bit more, or drop that arm a little bit. It's feedback that just constantly is refining me as an athlete to be better.
Judges don't. I've noticed judges aren't as straightforward like that, bro. There's so many situations where a judge can say he's just better than you genetically. There's so many situations that a judge could say that, but they won't say that. Maybe
they got a lot of people they got to remember. And sometimes it's like, dude, everybody at a pro show, or at least a big pro show, like you look at, New York Pro, if you're going to break down the top 5 like we have, it's literally just trade-offs. One guy is superior in just this specific, no matter how hard he trains that muscle group, it's not going to be as good as Aaron Banks's back. You get what I'm saying? So there's always going to be a trade-off. And if you're next to, specifically, like if my back is next to Aaron Banks, they're going to say, okay, yeah, your back sucks in comparison to his. But if I'm next to a guy who's a little bit closer as far as development in my back, I may not have the same exact feedback as I was if I was exposed next to a Banks.
But speaking of that, then, Chris, you're a coach here. Do you have your clients get feedback after a show?
100%, every single time.
Okay, so why? Let me ask you that.
So for one, a lot of the good judges, if you watch them while they're judging, they are always making notes in comparison. Now, yes, whenever you have a client or you're a competitor and you're on stage, you are being compared to what's on that stage at that time. So yeah, maybe you could have looked like you had a weaker back because you have this genetic anomaly next to you and he has an incredible back. And that's going to be your feedback, is your back needs to come up. Now, is that necessarily true? Maybe not, but it's against the field that you're going against. So it's at least good to get your comparison pictures after the show, obviously whenever they come out 3 or 4 days after, and then you get that judge's feedback. You can compare yourself and say, hey, do I agree with this judge's opinion on it? And you can kind of take these multiple opinions and you create your own overall conclusion, and then you move from there. It's not, I'm never going to take one person's advice, because we all have an image in our head and it's a very subjective sport, right? So we're not going to always want to listen to one person unless it's Tyler Mannion, the one that makes the rules. But you know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, yes, I'm going to take that feedback, but I'm going to be very constructive of it and then create my own kind of conclusion and then go from there.
Even when you win, get feedback.
100%.
Even when you win, get feedback. I've always gotten feedback even when I win, because sometimes it'll be like, listen, you won the show, but if you bring the same look to Olympia, it's not enough.
Yeah. So I think you're right. I think it's err on the side of getting the feedback always. But I also think that there's situations where I know you've gotten feedback from judges. You're like, what the fuck? Is that even me?
I've got that from Tyler before, Mannion, at Junior Nationals. He said I need to be tighter, and I got the pictures back, and I was the tightest person on stage, the most shredded person. Even Terrence Ruffin was like, I have no idea. And Joe Pascula even walked up after he heard Tyler say that to me, and he goes, I think he might have been thinking about the wrong person. Yeah, so what you're saying is there's many people.
That's why I think it's so important to hire, like, put it this way. I should be able to go to Cutz and be like, yo, what do I need to work on? And he gives it to me way better than any judge who judged me for 5 minutes on that stage. I think don't get me wrong, it's important for the feedback, but I also have been in a lot of situations where a client gets feedback that is so generalized and just so it leaves them having more question marks in their head after they get the feedback than anything else. If you're a good coach, I
Hey,
think that
okay, if you think about it though, if the people that we're coaching, they're not at the top level, right? So I think this is a level-based thing. So you guys at the top Olympians, you know what you need to work on, right? You're skilled enough to even look at yourself in the mirror and know the things that you need to work on in comparison to your peers. Now, whenever you're at a lower tier, I think that multiple opinions does matter because there's a lot to work on whenever you're an amateur going into the pro show, your first pro show, or even if you've been competing on the pro circuit for a while. There's still a lot you need to work on. There's a lot of low tier pros that there's so much they need to know. They probably just need to grow everything at this point, So I do think it's at a person to person basis, depending on their skill level or where they're at. But yeah, Alex, I know that for your amateurs, I know you don't get feedback. I guarantee you.
it's yeah, bro. I do. I have them say to get feedback, but it's like a lot of it is in my head where it's like I know what we need to do already. I just want them to have the experience of hearing it from a judge and getting that. That's important. Like hearing it from a judge sometimes is a lot easier than hearing it from the coach. But I think the most important reason to get feedback is not necessarily for what to improve on in the future. It's to get justification on why you placed where you placed at that show for the regional and national level, where it's like, okay, or any level in general. It's like I was second because of this, right?
I like Sandy's breakdown when you used to send in to her old on Sandy's Lane or whatever, that old email. She would find the class. She would find your winner and put the side-by-side front and back from NBC News Online of you next to the winner and say exactly what they had over you and why they were preferred.
Yep. That's
awesome.
That's what I like, bro. That's feedback. That is feedback.
Because then you could see it. And obviously there's genetic components too, but at least you're getting that answer. It's not just what you could do, because sometimes, I could look at a guy and say, just based on what I have seen with my own two eyes, being at the highest level, watching Ryan Terry and Banks and Brandon battle it out, I have this I got diet goggles to a certain point to where if I look at an amateur, I might look at them and give them feedback based on that level, So sometimes it's not as, I don't know, man, it's not as accurate sometimes to break it down because we all have like a different, level that we're comparing it to.
Agreed. All right. I got a weird one here. What differentiates a girl? Cannot speak English tonight. A girl who is good or bad in bed.
I mean,
this is a question we got to have Andre on for.
I mean, it's preference. Are they going to do what you are into? Or are you talking about it? If they're just like, no, and they just kind of are like, you know what, you're going to just do what I say and you don't enjoy it, I would say that's pretty fucked.
I think a blanket statement is willing.
I mean, she'd be comfortable with somebody where it's like, hey, I want to try this. If they just like,
that's what it is, bro. That's what it is right there. It's like you're comfortable and then willingness to explore it. I think that's what it is, bro. I think it's hard to have a bad time when you're doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to give like a specific answer. Chris, some people are just
don't get me started. I'm the worst. Do not get me started. There's a reason why my fiance left me, bro. Okay, so we cannot talk about that.
Yo, we'll skip that shit. We'll skip it.
Man.
All right. Let's see. Let's get one more question in here.
I kind of wanted to know.
All right. This is a good question we asked Andre. I'm curious. Would you rather lose all of your old memories or never be able to make new ones?
Never be able to make new ones.
Never be able to make new ones.
Really?
Yeah, bro, like your family's not going to be around your entire life. You know what I'm saying? You want to have you could still live life on your memories. You know what I'm saying?
But
like you get to a certain point to where, I mean, you're living off of the memories, like you could still live. You're just not going to make new ones.
And then think about this, Alex. You're successful, right?
Bro. That's not living.
If you're successful and you have no memories of the past, you're not going to be successful moving forward because you're not even going to know how to operate. Know what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, you guys, okay, I get it. You guys think it's very, very literal.
Or like 50 first dates. I'll just be like, yo, just record me every single morning and somebody send it to me and be like, yeah, I got to remember this. This happened to you. This happened to you. And then we'll just move forward.
But like,
yours would be like, you're gay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't feel like it. Trust me.
Are you
Like,
sure?
oh shit, never knew it. Is that why I woke up with my ass hurting today?
You're a gay liberal.
Oh my God. Oh, all right.
The ultimate personal troll.
I don't know, man. I do think there's something to be said about, like, bro, I feel like once you stop making memories, your life is over. Like, living based off of what was, especially if like you're in your late 20s.
I'm not even gonna go with what I'm thinking right now, guys.
Yeah.
I'm like, Helen Keller still lived a full life. I mean, she couldn't even see shit. She couldn't hear. She couldn't, like, bro. So don't say it's not worth living because she made it happen.
Bro, she can still have memories, bro. She can still have
Yeah,
memories.
but how? Like, her memories are only like.
Dude, you're right. I mean, you're not wrong. It's kind of.
I mean, you can't really remember something that you never really saw, right?
Like,
or heard or felt.
Your dreams. Do you remember your dreams? I do.
I guess I don't. I always wake up and forget, but I know it was fucked up. You ever been like that?
yeah,
It's where you
yes.
wake up and you're like, I know it was fucked up, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah, bro, 100%. All right, fellas, I missed the hell out of you guys, man. I missed the hell out of you guys. Once a week, we're back. Is there anything you guys want to end with?
I'm just glad to be back. I was a little bit rusty at first, but you know, it's nice to be back. Definitely excited for the season. You know, I don't know, man. It always gave me something to look forward to doing this. You know, bodybuilding is a very boring lifestyle, and you tend to love what's boring. You know, I'm in bed by like 10 at night every night. You know, I do what I do during the day. It's very structured, and it gives me something to look forward to. Talk some shit and just, you know, we're never literal on here. We're just kind of goofing around. People love to hear it. I love, you know, being able to do this with you guys, and I'm just glad that we have another year to do this together.
Oh yeah,
I agree with that, man. And I'm back. I'm talking all this shit this year.
Make sure you comment below. This year we want to bring on some dope guests, but we want to bring on the guests that you guys want to see in conjunction with who we want to have on. We have a lot of people in men's physique who are really unknown, and I really want to try to have them on to give them a platform so you guys can get a chance to invest in their personalities. But as always, guys, we love you guys. We appreciate you guys. Episode 1, season 3, wrap.